Hey guys, it's Scott here from Horse Racing Daily, and tonight we're going to go over the pace scenario for the 2019 Belmont Stakes. And I think the whole pace is going to dictate between two horses. That's Joeva and Spinoff. Joeva's ran first in all his best races. He's been up and on the lead. I don't see why they would try to change tactics, especially drawing the rail. You want to get your horse in the position that it's ran its best races. So I think they're going to send him to the front. Everfast, I think he's going to run a little more mid-pack, probably closer to how he ran in the optional claiming race in the Holy Bull, somewhere's in there. Maybe Pat Day Mile type running style for the Belmont. He's not going to be 22 lengths back, 18 lengths back. None of that stuff. Master Fencer, he's the Japanese horse, and if you watch all his races, he's came from the back of the pack and made one run. I see that trend continuing for the Belmont. Tax, I think Tax is going to sit. I think he'll be a little more forwardly placed than what he was in the Kentucky Derby and the Wood Memorial. He'll probably run back more to his Remsen and Withers, but I don't think he's a type that sets the pace. He likes to have good forward position, but as far as pressing the pace, I don't think he likes to do that too much. So I don't think they would press the pace with him. Bourbon War. He's a one-run closer type. He's kind of like Master Fencer. He makes his one run, and if it's good enough, if he gets some pace in front of him, he could potentially do good. And he does pick up Mike Smith as a jockey who is known for being a aggressive type rider, but I think he's going to ride Bourbon War. Give him a Zenyatta type ride. Maybe not Zenyatta results, but he's going to take him to the back and try to make that steady run with him. And Spinoff, this is the key horse, I think, for the pace scenario, because if you watch the optional claiming race at Tampa, he was pretty much up and on the pace, like he was pressing it real hard and took over and drew off, and I think that was his most impressive race he's ran this year. In the Louisiana Derby, he kind of set more off the pace and then made his run at the end, and it wasn't quite good enough, even though he did have the lead for just a few seconds down the stretch. And in the Kentucky Derby, he didn't really fire at all. But I personally expect him to run back more similar to his Tampa race, being up and on the pace. And if he does that and him and Joeva both go, I think the pace has a chance to heat up. But that's the only scenario that I see where the pace could heat up, would be them two horses take off and go. And Sir Winston, he's going to, I think, resume his spot at the back of the pack and make his one run, kind of like the Peter Pan Bluegrass Tampa Derby type runs. Intrepid Heart, if the pace heats up with Spinoff and Joeva, this could be the Pletcher horse that I think would benefit the most from it, because I think he does need some pace in front of him. He doesn't have the most tactical speed coming out of the gate, and he does, his whole pedigree just screams distance, which he's going to get. But I expect him to sit mid-pack, and maybe if the pace heats up enough, he can get a good piece of this. And Worrell Will, in all his races, races that he's ran good, he's set just a couple lengths off the pace. Maybe in the Preakness he was a tad bit further back than what he usually is, but still he was forwardly placed, and that's where he's going to be in the Belmont. He's going to be forwardly placed. I think they'll have him sitting third or fourth outside horses, gaffing else, and try to get him in a good position to avoid being behind traffic. So I expect him to, I don't think he's going to be responsible for a pace heating up or anything. He's going to kind of play the hand that's dealt to him. But I think he could, whether the pace heats up or the pace is a steady pace throughout, I don't think it's going to affect how Worrell Will runs. What's going to affect Worrell Will is the toll of running all these races is going to take on him. It's not going to be so much. I don't see him getting involved in a blistering pace. He would set off of it like the Preakness. And If it runs a little bit slower like the Lecomte Stakes, he'll just try to take over, right around the far turn and draw off at the stretch. And Tacitus, I think he's going to be a little more forwardly placed than probably what most people would think, just because his last two workouts really impressed me. He seemed like he's a little more focused in the morning time. And the fact that the pace of the Belmont is typically slower than the mile and 16th, mile and 8th races, you'll see just under 24 seconds for the opening quarter. And Tacitus just a steady, runs at a steady speed all the way through. So I think you'll see him sitting maybe mid-pack, 4th or 5th. Jose Ortiz is an aggressive type jockey, so he might have him, I would say, as far forward as 4th. I don't think he's going to be a dead closer. I really don't. Not this time. You're going to see him mid-pack, I think, is the most likely scenario. But that's my opinion of the pace scenario for the Belmont, guys. Thanks for watching.